What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another installment of your favorite show, and my favorite show too, Gotta Love Them Movies, where we sit around and chit-chat and talk about movies all day long. I sure hope my gain is properly adjusted. We are having some problems on the show a few weeks ago with my gain. So, and by a few weeks ago, I mean last week. So anyway, let's hope that that's all figured out. Guys, I am so glad that you are able to join me on this luscious journey through film and movies and movie news and television and all that good stuff. This last weekend, I hope you were paying attention. This last weekend was DC Fandome, where DC Comics and DC Entertainment presented a big, huge presentation. They talked about all things like coming out, specifically in the movies, but also in the comics, on television. They dropped a whole ton of news, and that's what today's show is going to be dedicated towards. But before we can start the show, we first need to introduce our two special guests. That's right, today, ladies and gentlemen, we have two guests joining us today. First and foremost is the giant, massive pimple on my face, which I've affectionately named Nathan. So please put your hands together for Nathan to join the show. Woohoo! Nathan the Pimple. And followed up, he's a very good friend of mine. He's a fellow cosplayer. Put your hands together for Rob Morira.
What's going on, everybody? What's happening? Glad to be here. Very excited to talk about Fandome.
Oh man, Fandome is like, this was the craziest thing. I mean, like, we've seen D23, we've seen obviously Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, FlameCon, DragonCon, WonderCon, WizardCon. There's so many different events of this nature, and it seems like a lot of these individual studios are coming together to create their own types of fandom events. Rob, what do you, just off the top, what do you think of that? How does that strike you?
I think that's actually pretty smart. I mean, lately the gaming industry has actually been doing the same, where a lot of the giants are kind of distancing themselves from E3, which is, the really big electronics expo out in California. And a lot of them have been kind of pulling back and making their own kind of events to do their own announcements, which I think is pretty cool. PlayStation, I believe, was the first to do it last year. And since then, Xbox has been doing it also. So now that that's moving now into other industries, I think it's a smart idea, because then you can really make your event about your brand, and you can really have better focus, I feel, in that respect. So you can really make not just your panel, or your little, 30 by 30 foot area, about you. Now the whole event is about you, and there's plenty of fans out there. So I think it's absolutely the smart move.
In that regard, Rob, as you were talking about how like each company kind of like has their own very specialized thing. If you've ever been to Star Wars Celebration, that's exactly what this is reminding me of, is that one of the overwhelming things for me about Star Wars Celebration, to which I'm a huge Star Wars fan, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it was a little overwhelming because as opposed to Comic-Con, it was just centralized to one thing. It was an entire week. It was actually four or 5 days on one specific topic. And in that regard, I found it a little overwhelming. But from a company's point of view, they are able to, like you say, centralize the content and make it very specific about this thing. And what I love about DC Fandome is that the panels weren't like hour-long panels, and we have, tons and tons and tons of content to flow through. Like, a lot of the panels were like 10 minutes long, 5 minutes long, 15 minutes long. Did that help your viewing experience at all?
That absolutely helped. I'm a father of 3 girls. I work from home. I got a wife. I cook dinners. I got a lot of stuff going on. So being able to cut away for 10, 15 minutes to just be like, listen, I really need to see this trailer and what they're talking about. I do it. And then I come out and I'm like, okay, who threw up where, who needs a changing. I think that's awesome. So for me, like, it absolutely helps. It's quick, easy to digest. You get everything right off top, and I think that's
Little
awesome.
bite-sized pieces.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, guys. So before we start talking about all things fandom, first I need to go down through the show order for you. Today's show is going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. Usually we have the Gotta Love Them Movies mailbag that we open. We usually have like very special centralized topics. Today, the entire episode is dedicated to talking about what happened this last weekend at DC Fandom, or not at, I guess, online DC Fandom. Anyway, so here's the show order. As always, I'm going to tell you how to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and then we're going to talk about Wonder Woman 84, Gotham Knights WB Games Montreal, The Flash, The Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Black Adam, Justice League The Snyder Cut, Shazam Fury of the Gods, The Batman, and then we will go on to take your live questions. As always, guys, before we get into the YouTube channel stuff, today is the last reminder. Today is the last day to drop your comments in the comment section below. With the phrase Toy Tuesdays. This is Jeff Goldblum from Thor Ragnarok. He plays the Grandmaster. Not only will you be getting Grandmaster the toy, but also a little pile of sludge that he turns his victims into. So if you want to be considered in the running to win Jeff Goldblum from Thor Ragnarok, like this video, share this video, and then comment in the comment section below the words Toy Tuesdays. Is all you need to do to qualify to win George Luke. Why am I saying George Lucas? That's not a thing. I don't know. Anyway, guys, going on to the YouTube channel, all you have to do is go to youtube.com. You might already be here watching it right now. Just go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Doing so will enable me to grow my subscriber base. What happens when I grow my subscriber base? We get more views. What happens when we get more views and we grow our subscriber base? Well, guess what? I start earning ad revenue, and I can make this show my full-time job. So that's exactly what I want to do. And guys, as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we are going to transfer the show from Facebook to YouTube. So be aware, look out for that. All sorts of wonderful, wonderful things. Okay, guys, with all that down and out of the way, let's start talking about Wonder Woman 84. Yes, that is right. Wonder Woman 84. This was the panel one of the panels that I was the most excited to see, and I'm surprised that they put it out first. This was the first panel of the day. We got to see some really cool exclusive content, which, you know, the trailer dropped. Patty Jenkins was there. Obviously, Gal Gadot was there. Chris Pine was there. Shoot, Rob, help me out. I can't think of her name. Cheetah, who plays Cheetah?
Oh, Kristen
Thank you,
Wiig.
Kristen Wiig. As well as what's his face, the other villain. My brain is just mush.
Pedro Pascal.
Thank you, Pedro Pascal. Yeah. So all these people showed up, and then we had a wonderful cameo from Linda Carter herself, the original Wonder Woman. It was really touching. It was really warm. It was really heartfelt. Rob, what were your thoughts of the panel overall?
I think that was such a great way to start it. I think that's awesome because ultimately, you know, especially with the latest, with all the movies that came out, the DC movies that came out, the strongest, ultimately, everybody will agree, was Wonder Woman right off the bat.
Hands down.
I mean, you know, nobody can argue that. So the fact that they started with their strongest first, I think that was the absolute way to go. Very smart. I mean, the movie itself looks great. I mean, yeah, I have nothing but good things.
Yeah,
nothing but
agreed.
good things.
Nothing but good things. The trailer really got me excited. Even the whole job of a trailer is to take your excitement level and to bump it up a notch or 2 notches or 3 notches. And for me, I went a little crazy. I couldn't believe that. Because I love the first Wonder Woman movie. I think I reviewed it at like a 99%. I think over time, now that, you know, I've had a few years for it to sit with me, I would probably take it down a few pegs. I didn't really care for the third act of the film. I think it would have been stronger had the villain, not Achilles, not Archimedes.
Um, Jeez, I forget it.
You know what I'm
Yeah, I
talking
forget
about.
his name.
The main
Yeah,
villain. I think it would have
yeah.
been a stronger. I think the film really would have hit its stride and strength had they not introduced that villain as a physical character. Had he remained like the embodiment of war, the embodiment of hate, and just kind of let him.
Ares.
Ares, thank
Ares.
you.
There you go.
Had
There
Ares
you go.
just kind of
Yes.
been like this ethereal entity that exists
Mm.
only in our minds, I think the film could have really
Mm.
uh, been. I'm not using my words very well. It could have
Yeah,
strengthened.
I mean, they definitely could have experimented more ultimately.
Anyway, I mean that's just one small little gripe that I have with Wonder Woman. I would love to pass it to my pimple Nathan and see what Nathan has to say about it. But I think Nathan is in agreement with me. As far as the trailer, Rob.
Oh
As
god,
far as the
it's
trailer is
awesome.
concerned, is there anything that didn't strike you very well?
So I liked all of it. I did like all of it. I thought it was really cool. It was nice to see her, swinging off of lightning bolts. I thought that was really cool. Seeing her using the lasso so much was actually really, which is always really fun to watch. The only part that I would maybe critique a bit, would be Cheetah's final form.
Oh
Now,
my goodness! I'm so glad you said that because I actually have this graphic prepared, right there. There she is, Cheetah in all of uh, her furry good, yeah, her not glory. Yeah, it did not sit well
yeah,
with
I
me.
mean, yeah, like it's it's hard. It's CGI and it's not perfect.
Don't you mean it's not
Um
perfect?
oh
Thank
you.
you, thank you.
But yeah, it's definitely not perfect. But where my gripe is, it's like, okay, it's CGI and we could kind of explain away. Yeah, well, it's computer graphics, yada yada. But ultimately for me, it's like if you can make, oh well, again, this is Marvel, but if you can make Hulk look as good as he does, especially like in Thor
Yeah.
Ragnarok, I think Thor is where that's where Hulk looked his best. If you can make Hulk look that good, then surely you can make Cheetah look great as well. And I get it. She's covered in fur and it all has to wave and move. And if you do it too much, she might look like she's underwater or whatever. But I think I'm hoping that that isn't her, the final version that we're gonna see. I hope they make some tweaks.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm landing on this. Is I think that this is like an unfinished rendered version of Cheetah. I think it's only going to go up from here. I think they may have rushed some of these graphics for the trailer. Having said that, when was this movie originally supposed to come out? It was this year, which even there kind of makes me wonder, like, is this going to be the finished version of Cheetah? Because it was, originally supposed to be this way, or has COVID-19 like pushed post-production back so far that they weren't able to finish the rendering? I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, guys, that's what we think. Those are our thoughts about the Wonder Woman 1984 panel. Did you see it? What did you think of it? Did you see the trailer? What did you think of the trailer? Jump down to the comment section and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, next on the topic is Gotham Knights, the video game. All right, Gotham Knights, a video game. Rob, I am not a gamer. I'm not someone that traditionally loves to jump on a console and starts pushing buttons. I will leave this to you. I know very little, very, very, very little about this game going in. I know it's tied to Court of Owls. Especially like the end of the trailer introduces the Court of Owls. I don't know if the previous game introduced the Court of Owls. I know it was leading up to it, but the Court of Owls is a hugely popular storyline in the comics in amongst fandom. What can you tell us about this game and how it ties into other stories?
Well, ultimately, what's interesting is that it does follow a separate timeline from the Rocksteady Batman games, because the Rocksteady did create games, which was the much loved Arkham, trilogy, which is the Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then finally Arkham Knight. So this game actually does not follow that continuity. Rocksteady has their own thing going on, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, this is following a very different continuity, but it does look like the mechanics stay somewhat true, to what Rocksteady did. Especially, you see it more so, especially with Batgirl, and with Nightwing. They do kind of look like they operate the way that they did in the Rocksteady games, because while you weren't able to play with them as main characters, at least Nightwing, because you did get to play as Nightwing, you he did move. He does seem to move the same way, and he uses his escrimas the same way. While Batgirl very much looks and maneuvers, especially when she zip lines, the way that Batman did. So it looks like there's a lot of borrowing here in terms of the game itself. But yeah, this is a city where Batman is dead. And the Court of Owls is a very real threat. And if you haven't read that storyline, highly suggest it, because it is deep. How far the Court of Owls actually goes. It's kind of like an old ancient group that just has been in Gotham like forever. But the game itself just looks fan-frickin-tastic.
Were there any surprises about the game that jumped out that you weren't expecting?
Yeah, the fact that Red Robin apparently teleports. It looks like he teleports. That was very odd. That stood out a lot to me. So I mean, unless there's some trick that he does that I'm not aware of, but I don't remember anyone teleporting like that. But yeah, apparently Red Robin can. But I was surprised that we had that they brought in Red Robin and Red Hood. I thought that was actually interesting, but it only caught me by surprise because I thought it was following the Arkham continuity. Because for those that played Arkham Knight, Red Hood was, spoiler alert, Red Hood was the bad guy.
Dun, dun. Well, I think if you know anything about Red Hood, you know that he's the bad guy. If you know anything about the Red Hood.
Yeah, but it's cool because they brought him in as his vigilante self, which is great because that version of him does exist in the comic books, and he's such a fan favorite. People are dying to see Jensen Ackles voice him. I don't know if he has yet, but I know people really want him to do it.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a thing.
Sorry, not to voice him. They want him to play him.
Okay.
Live action.
Well, because I know he's leaving Supernatural and he's jumping into The Boys. Right. He's playing Soldier Boy. Not Soldier Boy, but yeah, he's playing Soldier Boy. Well, what if he was playing Soldier Boy and he just did that little Superman dance?
I think that would be a great addition.
That would be fantastic. I would love for that to be the advertisement for season 3 of The Boys. I think, wouldn't that?
I'd watch it.
That'd be great.
Immediately.
Anyway, guys, what do you think of the new Gotham Knights video game? Were there any surprises that caught you off guard? Was a lot of this straightforward? Were you expecting this? Were you expecting the Court of Owls? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, moving on. Next panel that we have to talk about is The Flash. Okay, The Flash, starring Ezra Miller, is a movie that is not in production yet. They're still writing the film, but they did a little panel about it. They just kind of wanted to introduce the fans a little bit and kind of give us a little bit more information as to where they are. The panel itself was very silly. It was very lighthearted. Ezra Miller kept jumping in back and forth and giving like these really silly, Flash facts. Did you know that it was really silly. It was really lighthearted. It was a fun panel. I have one gripe to make, but before we jump into that, Rob, were you able to see the Flash panel?
I did. I got to see a little bit of it. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. Really what's tough for me, especially with the Flash panel, is that it's cool that he's still around. Ezra Miller grew on me. Yeah. He grew on me. I wasn't a fan right away. He did grow on me. So he grew on me after watching him in Justice League.
Okay.
Yeah, more so because the decision of him, I was kind of about. I wasn't like an outward staunch, he should not play Flash. I was just kind of apprehensive. Yeah. Then I saw him in Justice League and I was like, okay, cool. I see what they're going for. So I'm down with that. Um, my thing was just that, it's hard to be supportive of him after like his own weird personal stuff that he got going on.
Are you talking about
Like,
Iceland?
yeah.
So that's one of
So
the things that I wanted to bring up. For anyone who's not familiar with Ezra Miller's incident in Iceland, there was a video of him kind of went viral, like a mini viral, I guess.
go too far. Like it cropped up and then was quickly, kind of
It did,
squashed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a video of him. I guess right after COVID happened, for whatever reason, he was in Iceland. There was a video that came out with him having an altercation with a woman in some kind of a bar, and she was kind of making fun of him, and he grabbed her by the throat and forced her to the ground. It was kind of shocking. Like at first a lot of people were saying online like, no, it's not real, it's a hoax. And then, the day after, reports started saying that no, it was genuine, it was real. Like cops were there, people were giving their insight about the incident itself, and we have not heard anything from Ezra Miller. We have not heard anything from Warner Brothers. We've not heard anything from DC. This is a thing that just kind of got put down, and nobody's
Yeah.
on an official level, on an official capacity, nobody's talking about it. And for those of us who are fans of Ezra Miller, for those of us who are fans of DC and the Justice League, and are really cheering on DC to do like something incredible and great, this is a little distressing to us because, we don't want one of our heroes. We don't want an actor that we enjoy watching who's very charismatic. And also, may I point out, someone who is gender fluid in a high
Yes.
spotlight. Spotlight. I can use whatever adjective to go on and on and on. He's in a high spotlight kind of persona, and we want to cheer that on. We want to give
Right.
access to more people who are different from us, and it's a little distressing that someone in his position has done something like this with no apology, with no explanation as to what actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really tough because he's somebody that besides him being such a great Flash, just him on a personal level and how he, conducts himself at award shows and his dress and how he's just so unbelievably comfortable in his skin and what makes him quote unquote maybe, not normal or whatever. It's like it's awesome to see. You want to root for him. He's somebody we do need in entertainment, and he's somebody that we need to be visible. And when something like this happens and it comes up and people hear about it and then it just kind of silently goes away, it's a little distressing. Because again, you want to root for the guy, but honestly, something like that, being a father of three girls, that's something that puts me in a really that's already a huge red
Yeah.
flag for me. So it's
Yeah.
hard to really be for somebody that, God forbid my girls encounter in the future, somebody like him. That's terrible. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
tough.
it's one of those things that I was really hoping that at DC Fandom they were going to address at least just a little bit and just say, hey guys, we know there was this thing that happened. We would like
Yeah.
to issue a formal apology. Or, how cool would it be if they actually brought the girl from Iceland into Fandom and just
Wow.
say, hey, look, I was a part of this thing. The internet made it a bigger deal than it was. We were just having fun.
Mhm.
He and I were kind of playing around. Other people took it too seriously. I wasn't there. I can't put words in her mouth or explain what the situation was, but it would have been nice to have some kind of
Yeah.
an acknowledgement that there was this thing that happened. It was a little grimy. Address
Mhm.
it, move on. Great, awesome. And it never happened. So as you say, Rob, it kind of puts us in a weird position. Like,
It's a weird position. Yeah, it's hard to cheer knowing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's like having that really good friend that did that one bad thing, and you're like, we're still cool.
Well, like being in the,
Uh,
I don't want to, keep beating this dead horse, but, being in the comedy
Yeah.
community, everybody knew about Louis C.K. Everybody
Oh,
knew.
well.
And then when news broke, it was like this huge shocker of an announcement. And we're like, yeah,
Mhm.
we know he's a
Yeah.
piece of dirt. And so it puts everybody in this really weird compromising position when there's no acknowledgement, you know? So anyway, guys, have you heard the news? Did you watch the Flash panel? Do you feel differently from us? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, moving on. Let's address the Suicide Squad. Oh, Rob. This was the panel. This was the panel that I was most looking forward to seeing. It has, you know, everything that we love about Marvel. Everything that we love about Marvel can be summed up inside of James Gunn's head, right?
Yeah. I'm 100% there with you.
And to be able to take his mind and bring it over to DC and pretty much make, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.5 using DC characters, because that's, I mean, come on, we all know exactly what the Suicide Squad is.
Of course.
This was the panel that I was most excited to see. It's the film that, you know, besides Wonder Woman, has the most amount of development behind it. They've already finished principal photography. I think they still have to go do reshoots and pickups.
Yeah.
They still have a little bit of editing to do, but look, they have an entire year to work on this film. It doesn't come out for a year. August 2021. So we still have plenty, or they have plenty of time to work on this thing to perfect it, to make it incredible. I could just verbally gush all day long about this. Rob, you saw all the stuff.
Yeah, it was just, it's so, I'm so happy that James Gunn jumped on to do this and that DC was willing to give such a great director, one that clearly showed he has an amazing handle on the comic book properties and how to give the characters justice and proper screen time. And just overall, I mean, I could gush just about James Gunn. I think he's a fantastic director. But just seeing all the different characters and how random they are. Like, it's the most random DC characters. Like, obviously, besides, like, you know, Harley and, you know, and Deadshot and, you know, Captain Boomerang, which is great to see them back.
I just looked it up. We have Pete Davidson. We have John Cena playing Peacemaker. Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn. Idris Elba, Nathan Fillion, Alice Braga. It says Taika Waititi. Is Taika Waititi in this?
Apparently he's in it. Now, guaranteed, if Taika's in it, he's some kind of weird anthropomorphic creature.
Oh, of course he is.
He's got to be, because he's never himself.
Michael Rooker, Storm Reed, Joel Kinnaman, Peter Capaldi is playing the Thinker. Come on.
I think it's amazing. Like, it's just...
Flula Borg. Flula.
Right.
Who puts Flula in a comic, in a serious, like, comic book movie, like a big budget action? Sean Gunn, Viola Davis. I mean, the list goes on. And David, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. David Dastmalchian.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he. This is his second DC film. Can you name his first appearance in a DC comic book movie? For those of you who don't know who David Dastmalchian is, in Ant-Man and the Wasp, he's on, like, Ant-Man's crew. He's like one of the guys. He's like the Russian dude in Ant-Man's crew.
Right.
Yeah. So here's a fun trivia question: can anybody, without looking it up, can you jump down to the comment section below? Rob, I'm gonna let you see if you can guess this. What other high-profile DC film was David Dastmalchian in?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I totally know. You want me to you want to give folks a minute before I say?
I'll give you a 10 count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rob, what is it?
The Dark Knight. Now, it is one of my favorite comic book movies, but more specifically, he is the guy that Harvey Dent, because this is pre-Two-Face, almost killed to find out why a shot was taken at Commissioner Gordon.
And even though they don't say his character's name in the film, do you know the character that he was playing?
Oh, hold on. I do know. I
Mm-hmm.
do. Oh, I'm trying to remember.
This
Crap.
is one of my favorite like comic book trivia questions.
Oh man, you're testing me so hard right now. Hold on. Hold on. I'm thinking. I'm thinking. I don't. Oh man, I think I. Yeah, I'm
In
blanking.
order to get this answer, you might have to jump through the looking glass.
Oh, wait.
That was a hint.
Okay, so this is
that was a hint.
So wait, he's playing like the Mad.
He
He's the
was the
Mad
Mad
Hatter.
Hatter. He was the Mad Hatter.
No
Yeah.
way! Is that who he was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be?
I mean, they never addressed it. He had a little name tag on that was the
Right.
Mad Hatter's real name. And so, like, I remember in the theater watching it for the first time back in 2008, and I was like, wait, I know that name. And I went home and I Googled it. And I'm like, oh, of course. That was the Mad Hatter. Of course.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Anyway, we could talk about this forever.
Oh,
Suicide Squad, not to be confused with Suicide Squad, of which my girlfriend and I are currently in the middle of watching right now with all this hullabaloo going on in press and whatever for the Suicide Squad. We're going back to watch the first one. Woof! It's a slow-paced movie, and it doesn't know if it's a crime drama, if it doesn't know if it's an action drama, or if it's a lighthearted comedy. And that's one of my huge problems with Suicide Squad, is that it suffers from tone, it suffers from lack of character development, and it's just a weird story. It's, hey, here's a problem, we're gonna put these people together and now go fix it. Okay, bye.
Right.
That was it. Oh, and the Joker's in it too. Why? I don't know. Screen time.
Just
Just
cause.
'cause.
Yeah, just cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was tough. It was a really tough watch. And it really didn't know what it wanted to be. I mean, ultimately, as it is, just for the main baddie, Sorceress. Ultimately, what was she trying to do? It was just kind of like, I want to end the world, I think. Maybe.
Now that we're rewatching it, we still have like another 40 minutes left to watch. It seems to me that she didn't have her heart, and she really, because whoever's in possession of her heart gets to control the sorceress. Enchantress.
Enchantress, there you go.
Whoever's in possession of her heart is in control of her. And I think she just wanted possession of her heart back and be in control of herself. And then once she got her heart back, she's like, I am going to screw with everybody. I'm just going to tear this place up. And sorry, but you did me wrong.
It was just like, I just didn't like that her lackeys were just like no-faced things. Yeah. And we got to kill these no-faced things or whatever. Yeah. And then, every helicopter apparently blows up in the movie.
Well, you can't have a movie.
No helicopter has a safe flight.
It is called Suicide Squad, Rob.
Yeah, apparently. You're right. Good point.
A title of which they only bring up once in the movie. They keep referring to themselves as Task Force X. And then camera zooms on Will Smith's face and he says, so we're some kind of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that Wink. Part was painful.
It was so dumb.
He might as well have winked at that after he said it.
That would have made it so much better. That would have made it so much better.
I would have appreciated that.
Break the fourth. It's like that's the kind of movie that A, needed to be rated R, and B, break the fourth wall. Pull a Deadpool, guys. Pull a Deadpool. Anyway.
Totally. Know what you are.
Know what you are. I feel like we've talked more about Suicide Squad than we have The Suicide Squad coming out next year. Anyway, I'm ridiculously excited to see this movie, you guys. What did you think about all the content, all the trivia, all the stuff that they brought in? I was probably the most surprised to find out that Pete Davidson was in this movie because I hate Pete Davidson. I hate this guy. I can't stand anything that he does. Rob, look on your face. You're stunned. Tell me why you like Pete Davidson.
No, that's the thing. I can't stand him either.
Yes.
I thought I was alone.
Oh, he's so annoying.
He keeps getting work, and I'm like, why? He's terrible.
He is. I hate everything that he stands for.
Terrible.
He brags that he doesn't work on SNL. The people just give him things to do, so he keeps earning a paycheck on SNL.
Yeah.
The King of Staten Island wasn't a bad movie by itself. But the
Mm.
reason that movie exists, to feed Pete Davidson's ego and give him something to do, is the most ridiculous thing. Like, that whole story is to say that, like, you can be sub average or like even below average,
Yeah.
and life will still work out for you.
Will figure itself out, and you'll be just
So stupid.
man.
I hate
Can't
everything he
stand.
stands for.
I tried and I tried. I did give him a shot
Yeah.
once because I watched him on SNL and I was like, he's not funny. And then I saw him in a couple other things and I was like, he's not entertaining to watch. And then as a person, I'm like, I don't even like you as a person. But I did try to watch one of his next Netflix specials. He had one up. I don't even remember the name of it. And I think I saw 15 minutes, and even then that may have been generous.
Yeah, I got 5
and
minutes
I
and
was
then
just
turned it off.
watching it. Yeah, and I was like, I can't. How is this? How did he have an audience? How is this funny? Why is this here?
No clue.
I
No clue. I can't stand the guy. So, guys, that was my biggest surprise at or during the Suicide Squad panel. Did you have any big surprises? Jump down to the comment section. Let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Let's move on. We already talked about the Suicide Squad. Now let's talk about the video game Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
So, figure out who we're killing yet? Oh.
Okay, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. This is kind of an ambitious video game, wouldn't you say, Rob?
Yes, absolutely. 4-player co-op. I'm sorry. I'm hooked. That's amazing to me. And this one does, because it is by Rocksteady, this one does follow the Arkham storyline, which is already a storyline we absolutely love. So I'm so in. The co-op, honestly, is what really reels me in, because, I do like my single player adventures. Don't get me wrong. But there's something so fun about being able to play with your friends. And now in a property, which if you watch the trailer, in a property that these characters don't take themselves seriously. They just don't. They know they're doing this job they have to do or their heads blow up. And they're just haphazardly solving the problem. And I think that's amazing. And King Shark. Come on.
Yes, King Shark.
King Shark.
So another surprise to me was that King Shark was going to be in the movie. And so now that they actually have King Shark in the game, it makes me wonder, being that they've like released both of these video trailers at the same event, do you think that the King Shark that we saw in the game is going to be indicative of the King Shark that we see in the movie?
I would hope so. I would like to think so. I mean, he already does kind of look similar yet different to the King Shark that they introduced in the WB Flash series, because King Shark was fairly prominent in a season or two here and there.
I loved the version that they had in the Flash series, by the way. It was really
I
cool.
thought he was great. Yeah. I mean, he was like 12 feet tall. I mean, the guy, he was
like
a
that.
monster.
It's huge.
And I would like to think so, because it looks like they didn't make him as gigantic and imposing in the Suicide Squad game. So if they maybe shrank him down a bit, I think it could absolutely work in conjunction with the other
You know what
characters.
the video game version of King Shark reminded me of? Do you remember the 90s television show Street Sharks?
Street Sharks? Yeah.
They had like cut off jeans and skateboards. That's exactly
badasses.
what I was watching this and I'm like, oh, it's Street Sharks with Harley Quinn. Street Sharks starring Harley Quinn.
I love it. Yeah, it's cool. And I really enjoy that they brought Tara Strong back as Harley Quinn. It's always nice to have her come back and reprise her role as Harley. For those that don't know, she was the original Harley in the animated series. So it's kind of nice to see her pick that mantle back up. I'm sure she enjoyed that.
I mean, just like Mark Hamill doing the Joker. I mean, there are a few, dare I say, iconic versions of Harley Quinn out there, but
oh yeah, there's a couple. There's definitely at least 2 or 3 that I would say are like the Harley Quinns. I mean, homegirl from this show, from Big Bang Theory. I mean, she's been doing extremely well.
Kaylee Cuoco.
the Harley Quinn cartoon. Yeah, Kaylee Cuoco. She's been Harley for a season or two
And
now in the
even
cartoon.
Margot Robbie.
So it's cool to be.
I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
I mean, I love
Well,
Margot Robbie, period. But
yeah.
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 So at this point, I'm just kind of like, she's a fantastic human being because she's gorgeous and she can act.
That's true.
Wow.
So with the video
Yeah,
game
she's
drop, I know very little about the games or stories within games. Like I said, I don't play. Were there any surprises? Maybe that like Superman pretty much just straight up murdered a dude?
Yeah, it's cool because that seems to be the he is the main antagonist, is that he is an evil Superman. I don't know how that's going to connect to the rest of the Arkham storyline. So that's going to be interesting because it looks like he loses it a la Injustice. I don't know if he loses someone, for those that are unfamiliar with the Injustice storyline, Joker basically tricked him into killing Lois Lane, which is crazy. So I don't know if they're going that same route. They're using that same kind of. Oh, well, actually they can't because technically Joker's gone. He was gone in Arkham Knight. So I don't know. There's something is going to trigger Superman to lose it. Is it that he got mind warped like he has a couple of times in comic books? It's something else. I don't know. So that's really the part that we're missing here right now. Sure. Is that we know the Suicide Squad are being brought in because they need to take down Superman. There's no Batman because Batman is gone. He's presumed dead in this storyline. So, and then something triggers Superman to just go AWOL. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be cool to see how that develops.
Now, Rob, if I can get off topic for just a moment, because we're gonna change topics here in a sec and go from Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League into Black Adam. But I have to let you know, as well as our watching audience viewers, some of you may have noticed Rob's audio doesn't exactly match up with his video. So, Rob, right now I'm gonna ask, would you mind going ahead, just hang up the Skype call and just call me right back, and hopefully that'll just go ahead and reset that connection. So as Rob is going away so that we can get him right back again, ladies and gentlemen, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Like, did you have a chance to see the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League trailer? Oh, there's Rob. Hey, there's Rob Maria. Cool. Did you guys have a chance to see the new trailer? Jump down to the comment section and let us know your thoughts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that down and out of the way, we are moving on to our next main topic, which is Black Adam. Black Adam. I think this movie has been in development for about 10 years. Development for about 10 years now. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, obviously, it was reported that he was going to be playing Black Adam about 5 years ago, and we've just been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, kind of waiting for DC Entertainment to get their stuff together. Man of Steel, as good as it was, had some problems that didn't sit well with the audience. Batman vs. Superman had some problems that didn't sit well with the audience. Wonder Woman was a huge leg up on the competition. Suicide Squad was hit or miss. DC for a while had not been doing very well, so it seems like they were waiting for the right time to introduce Black Adam, and I think now is the right time. This movie is currently slated to come out next year, and they're currently in production, in pre-production. Cameras have yet to start rolling, and I'm quite excited, especially based on this panel. Rob, what were your thoughts or takeaways?
Yeah, I thought it was really great, and it's about time that we finally get to see anything Black Adam related besides rumors and ideas or whatever the case may be. But it was really cool because they brought in Jim Lee actually to do the animation for that video,
comic
which was
type thing.
Yeah, look, and it was cool. I like the route that they're taking for his story. That he's very much an anti-hero, as opposed to like the really just full-on bad, terrible human creature that we know
Right,
in the
yeah.
comic books, we will cheer for him a bit in his movie, which is pretty cool. I feel like he's gonna kind of be, at least for me, kind of like Thanos in Infinity War, where he had a purpose and he wasn't necessarily a terrible guy. He just went about things terribly.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's really cool. I only wish that at the least we could have seen The Rock in the suit, but I get it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, they didn't reveal much. They revealed that because we already knew that the movie was going to have Atom Smasher, and that was pretty much it. We didn't know anything. The two big reveals, or I guess maybe three big reveals, was that it was going to feature Hawkman. We didn't know that before. It is going to feature Dr. Fate, and that they are going to combine their forces to create the Justice Society of America, the JSA. Not to be confused with the JLA. Very different thing.
Yes.
So those were the big surprises for me when as soon as The Rock dropped the term JSA, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, wait, what? They're going to be introducing the JSA? So, I mean, we don't know if the JSA is going to play in this really weird, contorted version of a universe, if they are going to be like the antagonists, but I mean, they're actually heroes. So are they going to be the antagonists for our protagonist, which happens to be an anti-villain? It's a really weird it's a really weird way to go about thinking it. It's possible that he's going to be a member of the JSA and then he's going to break away and JSA is going to stop him. And who knows? I have no idea how this movie is going to go down.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. Because to make the movie kind of like the way they did with Venom, to make a movie based on ultimately a villain is tricky. That is tricky water to navigate, because you want the audience ultimately to cheer for this character to some capacity, even though ultimately they're probably not going to be the greatest. Now, I don't know if Venom's going to go that route, but for Black Adam, we very much know that he is going to be the antagonist for Shazam. So it's going to be interesting to see how they maneuver that to make us like him, to the point that when we see Shazam, we go, man, but I like them both. I don't like what's happening because I'm conflicted. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Now, Rob, are you familiar? Have you heard of kind of these online rumors going around about, Ryan Reynolds is going to play Hawkman? This came from earlier this month. Have you heard of this? Are you familiar with this?
I did hear about it. People talk. People create interesting rumors.
It's not entirely unfounded. Not entirely unfounded. Earlier this month, and if I was actually prepared in the show today, I could have had this tweet already brought up. But Ryan Reynolds, hearing some of these rumors, got on his social media and said, guys, it's not true. I'm not playing Hawkman. I love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's a very good friend of mine, but it's not true. I'm not playing Hawkman. To which Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson replied, and he said, Ryan, you're such a liar. You are Hawkman. You are the only person who could play Hawkman. It sounded very tongue-in-cheek. Now, that was earlier this month. That was, I think, like the first week of August. And it was very tongue-in-cheek. I tend to believe it's not true. If it were true, they wouldn't have said that 3 weeks ago, and they would have saved that announcement for DC Fandome.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, as a comic book fan, I would absolutely dread if they actually cast him as Hawkman.
Really? Do tell.
The thing is that Ryan Reynolds has a style, and he gets hired for said style, hence Deadpool. Hawkman is a very serious character. He's not jokey, funny. So I'd feel like that would be a waste of Ryan Reynolds to be in, because he won't be able to flex a muscle that we all love. Not saying he can't be serious. He can absolutely play serious. He's done it several times in his movies. And could that be a shift a la Chris Evans into Captain America? Sure. Possibly. But, I feel like Ryan Reynolds, you got your thing, stay in your lane. But who knows? Again, we can be
I feel that.
surprised.
Who knows?
Also, Hawkman is pretty jacked. Ryan Reynolds is ripped, but
That's
Hawkman is
fair.
jacked. Like
That's
he's
fair.
like, he's a big dude. He should be a
Yeah,
big
I mean,
dude.
in my mind, whenever I think of Hawkman, I knee jerk reaction. I always go to Nathan Fillion. Maybe a
I could
lot
see
of that
that.
is
Yeah.
just based off of his character in Firefly. But that's just that's just my knee jerk reaction. Anyway, guys, who do you think should play Hawkman? Jump down in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts. Black Adam. Did you see the Black Adam announcement trailer? The really cool motion comic art done by Jim Lee, and all the stuff brought out to us from The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Like I said, jump down to the comment section. Let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, that wraps it up for Black Adam. We have a few more topics. We have Justice League. We have Shazam. And then we have the Batman. We got 3 more to go. So here we are going with the Justice League. The Snyder Cut. Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut. It's coming. It's real. It's happening. It is not a figment of our imaginations. This is real. This is something that the fans actually made happen. There is very little that fandom is able to do to sway Hollywood or major production studios into getting what we want. First and foremost, the first thing that I can recall that fandom actually made happen was the look of Sonic the Hedgehog. Everybody cried and shouted and pouted when the first trailer came out because they didn't like how Sonic the Hedgehog looked. And then they went back and changed it. And now, because all the fans have clamored and youted and strammed, you guys, this is an insight as to how my brain works. The crowds youted and strammed, and here we are. We now have a new Snyder Cut coming out of the Justice League. Rob, this was maybe not the most anticipated thing for me here at DC Fandom, but for a lot of people at DC Fandom, this was the big thing that everybody was looking forward to the most. What were you looking forward to the most? And if it was the Snyder Cut of Justice League, let us know your thoughts. Not in the comment section below.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I wouldn't say I was not one of the release the Snyder Cut, psychos on Twitter, because there was there was a very large movement. There was the people that were, all about it and believed that it was real. Zack Snyder obviously said that it was real. Jason Momoa himself said, I saw it. I know it's real. But then you had that one, that 10% toxic people who were the loudest, and I didn't appreciate. But in any event, I digress. I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it, but I was intrigued because, obviously we heard about it. We knew it was going to be episodic in the sense that, there's going to be 4 it's going to be broken up into 4 hours. So 1 hour bit basically. And I thought that was cool. I mean, that's a lot of content that we did not get in the director's cut.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be so much more to look at, which I think is fantastic.
When I saw the trailer, I had no idea that
cool.
there was that much more content and that much more story that got cut out or like the script was completely rewritten for Joss Whedon's stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot that was changed, and I think that feels great for a lot of fans to who believed in it, who are really into the film community, who absolutely were pushing for Zack to get his vision out there because they knew that what his vision was truer to what they wanted to see. And I will say it's cool. We get to see Black Suit Superman. We get to see a lot of extra stuff overall. But I gotta say, Darkseid is terrible.
You mean just the look of Darkseid or the fact that he's in the film?
No, I love that Darkseid's in the film. He just looks terrible. He looks like a DC cartoon, and they just went copy paste into the movie.
Do you think that this could be a cheating situation?
I believe so. I do. I absolutely believe. It looked terrible. I'm like 90% sure that's not his final look. I'm sure it's going to be more polished. It's going to look better. But yeah, just for it to be the first shot, I was like, ugh. And that's how the trailer started for me, was me going, ugh.
You know, for some of these trailers, I wasn't a huge fan of their music choices that they used.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Because I have one of my friends who he's a huge, like, he's all about the Justice League. And he's like, I can't believe this is so amazing, this is the greatest thing. And I was like, yeah, the fact that they chose Hallelujah, great song. But all I thought about was Night Owl and Silk Spectre getting it on in the Owl ship and Watchmen.
That's true.
First
They
place
used
my
that
mind
same
went,
music for that
especially
scene.
because that was a Snyder song. That was a Snyder movie.
Everything comes together.
So my brain immediately went to that. So the minute I heard those first chords, I was like,
Ooh.
Watchmen?
Ooh.
So it kind of tainted my appreciation of the trailer.
It gave it a weird tone. But yeah, I mean, who knows? With Steppenwolf, Steppenwolf did not look very good in Justice League. I mean, maybe it's just going to be the DC curse that they're CG animated villains or animated mustaches or the lack thereof are just going to look terrible. Maybe just DC doesn't know how to animate. That could be.
Could be.
Anyway, guys, did you see the Justice League trailer? Did you see the panel? What are your thoughts? Jump down to the comment section below. There's a lot to unpack here, and we're trying to zip through some of this real quick. So jump down to the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Another panel that I was really super looking forward to was probably my number 3 most looked forward to panel at DC Fandome was Shazam 2.
Hold on a second. Sinbad, are you in Shazam 2?
Well, you tell me, John Krasinski, am I? Because everybody thought I was in Shazam 1 before it even existed. Google it. I'm number 3 on the Mandela list, all right?
Oh, that is right. Shazam, Fury of the Gods. We finally got a title. Shazam, Fury of the Gods. It's not going to be Shazam 2. This is a really fun, a really lighthearted panel. Everybody seemed to have a lot of fun. Zachary Levi kept up this whole gambit of just saying like, oh, we can't reveal anything. Oh, we can't reveal anything. And then little bits and pieces here and there, people would start to reveal this and that and the other. I think Asher Angel, what did he, I can't remember. He said, he dropped something. He dropped like some kind of a news to which Zachary Levi was like, whoa, we can't, we can't talk about that. Somebody else was saying, oh, well, can we talk about the villains? Oh, villains plural or singular. We can't really talk about it. But it was a fun gambit. It was a fun thing that he was playing with. The bit may have gone on a little too long. That being said, it was fun. It was enjoyable. The whole panel lasted all of 10 minutes? 15 minutes tops. It did not last very long. And there were a few kind of fun, surprising things that popped out, one of which we will talk about that was in that little video clip that I showed. Rob, what did you think of the Shazam panel? Or did you see the Shazam panel?
Sadly, that was the one thing I didn't get to see. I know. Yeah, it was tough. I try to get out to it. I try to, try to put, get the YouTube videos out. And then I was having issues. And then, the movie that we're going to talk about next came out, and then everything got erased in my brain. So that's kind of what happened.
There was one thing that happened in the panel that was very interesting. For those of you who are familiar with the Mandela effect, do you guys remember there was a movie that was made in the 90s called Shazam, starring the popular comedian at the time, Sinbad? We all remember this movie, right? Well, I have news for you. That movie never happened. That movie was never made. That was never a thing. Sinbad, starring in a film called Shazam, never existed, ever. There was a movie starring Shaquille O'Neal called Kazam, where he was a genie. That happened, and there was a horrible film. But for whatever reason, in people's collective consciousness minds, this is the Mandela effect, where large groups of people remember a thing that never existed. It's like the Berenstain Bears. Rob, you know what I'm talking about. The Berenstain
No, you're
Bears.
so right. You're so right. Because when I saw the actual spelling, I'm like, no.
Mhm. Yeah. It's actually the Berenstain Bears. It's not the Berenstain Bears. The Berenstain Bears is the real thing. And just like Shazam in the 90s, starring Sinbad, it never, pardon me, I'm hitting my microphone. It never happened. So anyway, in Shazam Fury, here, I'm going to play the clip again. Go ahead and just pay attention to this.
Hold on a second. Sinbad, are you in Shazam 2?
Well, you tell me, John Krasinski, am I? Because everybody thought I was in Shazam 1 before it even existed. Google it. I'm number 3 on the Mandela list, all right?
Okay, so there was the clip. Sinbad, the comedian, was a part of the panel where he jumps in, and Zachary Levi has this really fun moment where he says, "Wait, Sinbad, are you in Shazam 2?" And he retorts by saying, "I don't know. You tell me, John Krasinski." It's a fun little moment. It's a fun nod. It was a panel where they couldn't reveal much information, either A, because everything is so top secret, B, it's still in pre-production, C, there's a very good chance that Black Adam is going to be a part of this movie. He's probably going to be the antagonist of the film, but because the Black Adam movie hasn't come out, they can't say anything about it. There's a lot of stuff about this movie that they just can't talk about, so having Sinbad, the comedian, playing into that whole Mandela effect thing, was a really fun moment. So Rob, let me throw this to you. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts or opinions on Sinbad, the popular 90s comedian? Do you think he might actually make an appearance in Shazam 2?
I think that would be absolutely hilarious if he was. And the thing is that Shazam already has such a self-aware comedy to it that I think if they did it, that would just be money. Because younger audiences are probably not going to get it, but for those of us that are probably paying for that younger audience to get in, we're just gonna die. And I feel like movies really like doing stuff like that. I mean, Disney does it all the time. We've seen that in Toy Story. They love adding humor, for that adult crowd because they know they're probably going to be there with their younger kids or whatever the case may be. So they make it entertaining for a large generational gap. And I think to not would be such a
well, now that they've already acknowledged it. Like, they've already acknowledged it. And like you said, Shazam is such a self-aware property. I think that this is something that I actually think he's going to play a cameo. Much like Garrett Morris when the Ant-Man movie came out. Garrett Morris from Saturday Night Live fame, he was in the original cast of SNL. There was a sketch that happened where all these superheroes showed up to, I think it was Hulk's birthday party, something like that. It was somebody's birthday. Maybe it was Superman's birthday party. It doesn't matter. So all these superheroes just kind of like showed up for Superman's birthday party. And Ant-Man, played by Garrett Morris, was the very first on-screen live-action incarnation of Ant-Man that anyone had ever seen. So as a nod to the SNL sketch, Garrett Morris played a cameo. I think he played a cab driver. I think it was when Ant-Man was like, he fell out the window and he was teeny tiny and he just fell right on top of the car and made like this little dent. And Garrett Morris was like, what was that? What hit the car? It was a small, tiny little snippet. And I think that's the same kind of thing that Sinbad might actually play in Shazam 2 or Fury of the Gods.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Totally. So anyway, guys, what do you have an alternate opinion? What do you think? Is Sinbad not going to be in the movie? Do you think he is most definitely going to be in the movie? Jump down in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts. All right. For the last main topic of the day, we're going to talk about another huge panel that was massively anticipated by so many people around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the Batman. Oh boy, you guys. Oh, the Batman. Matt Reeves is the Batman. On Friday's show, we talked about the logo that was revealed. Was it Friday or Thursday? I think it was Friday. Matt Reeves and Jim Lee just dropped the new logo for the Batman just before DC Fandom, kind of in anticipation and preparation for DC Fandom, just to get fans excited and give them a little taste, a little snippet, a little something, a little morsel to suck on as an introduction to DC Fandom. And we talked on the show about how dirty and kind of gritty and kind of subculture that this logo looks. It almost looks homemade, which I think goes to the point of what Matt Reeves was talking about in the panel, that in the film, Robert Pattinson's version of Batman, Bruce Wayne makes his own costume. Everything is homemade. All the pieces are put together himself. It's year 2 of him being Batman. He's still kind of figuring out what this thing is, how it works, and all the things that go into being Batman. Like, we know ultimately what Batman becomes and who he is as a human being and as a character. But this incarnation of Batman is him still learning. He's not on the origin storyline. A little time has passed. So we kind of get to see that homemade version. There was another aspect to this trailer that dropped. When I saw the trailer, I started thinking to myself, this kind of looks like a horror film. This looks like a psychological thriller, 90s dark horror film. Much in the vein of Fallen, much in the vein of The Crow, much in the vein of Seven. I like how he said Seven, but I held up 3 fingers. Rob, do you have any thoughts on this being a horror thriller, or do you have a different take on the trailer?
Well, Matt Reeves himself had said that he's definitely looking at this less as a superhero movie and definitely more as a noir detective-like movie, which I think is great because it's going to be focusing on an aspect of Batman that everyone should know he's amazingly good at. He's not just a skilled martial artist. He's actually a very intelligent and skilled detective. So I think something like that and it being shown in the movie is really, really great. And the Seven vibe that you said, you absolutely nailed it on the head. I feel like if you took Seven as a movie and Daredevil, and you kind of melded them together, I feel like that's the Batman that we're getting. Some folks kind of critiqued the look of the suit. I thought it looked great because, again, it is homemade by Bruce. So I think that looked awesome. I think the car is gorgeous. It's a souped up muscle car, and I think that all lends to the potential reality that this movie is trying to ground for us. It's not something in a fantasy place. This is something that actually could happen. I feel like Nolan's trilogy was leaning towards it. I feel like Matt Reeves now is really flexing on that. And what better villain to exercise a detective story than the Riddler? That is just genius. Absolute genius. I've been for Matt Reeves since it was announced that he was going to do it. And after seeing the trailer, I was like, I was right.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. There are aspects to Robert Pattinson's character that I'm still having kind of a hard time wrapping my brain around. Like, before watching this footage, I was all for it. I was like, yep, Robert Pattinson's a great actor. If you've seen anything that he has been in besides the Twilight movies, he's fantastic. He's really great. Absolutely. He brings great energy.
Great actor.
So I was on board with it, but seeing him in this trailer, I'm not there yet. The film is hopefully gonna wow me and win me over. It was weird. It's weird that I'm all for this movie. It looked great. Paul Dano as the Riddler. Like, you cannot get better
amazing casting.
It's
amazing casting.
It's almost like we have now what we had in hindsight with Heath Ledger. Like, before Heath Ledger, everyone's like, meh, the Brokeback Mountain guy, meh. But then afterwards, everyone's like, that was the greatest casting of all time. And that's how I feel now. Paul Dano
Yes.
is such an incredible actor, such an underrated.
He's going to crush
It's gonna be
so
so good.
hard. He's going to crush this role.
The opening scene where he's duct taping the dude's head, like obviously it's already a dead body, but he's wrapping the head in duct tape, and then like later on in the trailer, you see him kind of like hiding in the shadows. He has a mask. I guess he's social distancing because he's wearing, kind of a mask over his nose and mouth, but his eyes are just peeping over this mask, and he's watching the carnage that he created, and it's so creepy. And it's those reasons that I'm comparing it to Seven. I'm comparing it to Fallen. It's just really dark, and like it has this icky feeling that it leaves you on the inside, and that's why I'm thinking that this movie is going to be more of a I don't want to say a horror film, but like a psychological horror.
Definitely thriller. Definitely a thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And it just left me with like these excited feelings, except for Robert Pattinson's acting. There's that right in the middle of the trailer where he's beating the dude up. I don't know. I don't entirely buy it. I don't.
Interesting. I actually really enjoyed that part. Like the Bruce Wayne, I'm still not 100% like on board with, just because we didn't really see him be Bruce. So that I'll give him. We didn't see enough of that. We saw him as just like, quiet, brooding Bruce, which, that doesn't really lend too much, to our imagination. But
you mean to say that Bruce Wayne can be dark and brooding? That's a trait?
Well, no. Well, no. But yeah, so I mean, he did that fine, I guess. Anybody can, stand around with their head down. Sure. I could stand around with my head down. Who can't do that? So whatever. But that portion when he attacked that guy, the reason I liked it was because as a former martial artist back in the day, which was a Wednesday, by the way.
I remember that day was a good day.
Back in the day, so from a martial artist perspective, the way he attacked this guy, it was very brawler-esque. It was very just kind of like, I'm just going to beat you down. And I actually like that because I feel like that does lend to the fact that he is still new. So I thought that was actually really cool to see, because even Christian Bale, though his fighting was a bit more brutal, it was very not that it was choreographed, but it was very specific. He blocked, he countered, he did things, so like that made sense. While this one, he was like, I'm just gonna grab you and beat you to hell, kind of like Batfleck did kind of show that off a little bit as well, because he did have that same kind of brawler-esque kind of thing, which makes sense because they were looking for more of a Dark Knight Returns Batman, a much older Batman. So Batman and Bruce Wayne at the beginning of his career to the end of his career, and at the end of his career kind of mirror each other on how he was. He wasn't that like very well calculated, amazing, accomplished fighter that he was in the middle of his career that we're all so familiar with. So I actually really enjoyed that part.
I mean, I think that just goes to, as we were talking on the show on Friday, the subjectivity of film. Like, just because, one person's super excited about it doesn't mean that we all have to be super excited. Totally. Or, you can definitely pick and choose. Like Suicide Squad, as I go back to the original example, there are plenty of fans of that film. I think that it has some redeeming parts, but for the most part, meh. And you can go through and pick and choose, and it's all good. It's all gravy.
Yeah, I mean, because ultimately we're both going to watch the movie.
Oh well, yeah.
And that's all that really matters. You know what I'm saying? And we're both going to walk away with such different perspectives of the movie. We're going to lift different things that stood out to us and what we appreciated so much. So I think that's really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the Batman whenever that makes its debut. Are there any surprises that jumped out to you guys? Was there anything that you didn't expect? Maybe things that you expected to see and you didn't see? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Cool. So that pretty much does the entire the previous planned portion of the day. Now we're just gonna jump into your live questions and take your live questions and see what you guys are saying in the comments section.
Alive! It's alive!
It's alive!
All right, guys. So as I I'm never prepared for this portion of the show. I always say like, okay, hey, here's what we're gonna do, and I'm never prepared. So let me. You see, I never prepared. I've got everything on my phone, and it's such a crazy show. Anyway, first comment of the day comes from Nicole Tessier, all the way from Honolulu, Hawaii, and Nicole says, "Fancy," with a little smiley emoji. Rob, I'm pretty sure that comment was directed at you. No, it wasn't, but you're way fancier than I am. So anyway, thank you, Nicole. That's it's a huge compliment. Matthew Wiles from the UK, right outside of Leeds. Right outside of Leeds. Matthew says, "Hey Mike, loving the Zack Snyder cut for Justice League." Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about seeing this thing. I think, Rob, as you said, it's a 4-hour cut. We're gonna get 1-hour episodes per episode on HBO Max. Or in the UK, I know Zack Snyder in the panel said that he was going to, maybe not him personally, but Warner Bros. Is going to make sure that for people who are not in the United States, who don't have access to HBO Max, that there are going to be ways to to make that happen. And maybe we'll do a watch party if that's a thing. I don't know if legalities will allow for something like that, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Maybe it'll be an off the books watch party. I don't know. We'll see. Matthew Wiles goes on to say, looks amazing, hugely different to Justice League. Do you reckon it will be released on Blu-ray? And what do you think the release to HBO? What do you think of the release to HBO and not cinema? Well, let me address the second part first. The release to HBO Max and not cinema. Nobody's gonna. First of all, Justice League was a movie that came out in theaters in 2017. I think it made like $600 million, which for a movie of that scale, it just broke even. It didn't make that much money. So asking audiences to go back and rewatch a film that they may have already seen, but now it's a 4-hour version, nobody's going to go do that. Nobody's going to go back to theaters. It's going to cost... actually, Rob, now that I'm thinking about it, let me put you alongside of me on this thing so everybody can see both of us. There we go. Nobody's going to go back to cinema and watch a 4-hour cut of the... Nobody's going to go to the cinema to see a 4-hour cut of anything. Gone are the days. Even if they had... an intermission right in the middle, like a 20-minute intermission, nobody's going to go do that because that's a huge chunk of your day. You're asking the audience to give up 4.5 hours bare minimum of their day to go watch a movie. The theaters can't do it because you can play 2 movies in that same time for the price of 1. So, or actually for the price of 2. So now the theaters aren't getting a fair cut, and if the theaters aren't getting a fair cut, the studio's not getting a fair cut. So it has a huge ripple effect. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like the extended versions of Lord of the Rings. I mean, those didn't get released in the theaters; they were released in the on the Blu-rays. So watch it at home, enjoy. But yeah, the thing is to say that people won't go to see the same movie isn't necessarily true, because it happened with Spider-Man, and people did go see Far From Home again on that second round where they added certain scenes, but they literally added scenes. Sure. If it did anything, it extended the movie by minutes.
I think it was 5 minutes.
I think
it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, let alone hours. And trust me, I know, because I went to see it that second time because my daughter's a huge fan. So I saw it the second time,
sure.
and I was like,
your daughter's a huge fan.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Your daughter's a huge fan.
Shut up, Mike. Don't sell me out, bro. We're live. But
that wasn't me. That was
but
Jeff
yeah,
Goldblum.
No, we saw them. We did see it again. But we did end up seeing it again. So something like that, it's like, sure, I could do a movie again for 2 hours and change. But to watch a 2-hour movie or 2.5-hour movie and then be like, yeah, there's an extra 2 hours of content. God, no.
That's a huge ask. And also, Matthew, going back to the first half of your question, do you reckon it will be released on Blu-ray? First of all, why are you saying reckon? You're from England. You're not allowed to use that word. Second of all, will it be released on Blu-ray? Probably. I would think so. Yeah.
Eventually.
I mean, it's a cheap, easy way for Warner Brothers to make another buck.
Oh yeah. It won't be right away.
No,
but
eventually.
They will.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, they'll probably do like a box thing with that one, the original, the director's cut. They'll probably like do some crazy big package.
I'm
thing.
still waiting for my original theatrical release on Blu-ray of the original Star Wars. Thanks, George Lucas, for messing that up for everyone. Cool. Denny Atkin writes. Oh, Denny Atkin. Very good friend of mine. Denny says, the crossover in Crisis on Infinite Earths made me anticipate the Flash movie 300% more. Also, if the rumors of Affleck and Keaton are true, they are. It is confirmed. That's going to be a cool story. It is a cool story. Yeah, I never saw the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. Did you see it, Rob?
I did not. I'm old school. You know, I saw it. You know, I read through it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. It's an awesome way to introduce, you know, several versions of the character, which is smart to bring back Affleck and Keaton. I think that's genius. The rumor though is that, you know, Rob Pat may also make an appearance too. But again,
I mean, he's already in the Cape and Cowl. I mean, it makes sense.
Exactly.
If he does come in, I think it would be a cameo akin to the X-Men cameo in Deadpool 2. You know, where, you know, Deadpool's in the X-Mansion and, you know, hey, where are all the rest of the X-Men? And then, you know, who is it? Like Nightcrawler closes the door or something like that.
Yeah, just closes the door.
I think it's going to be something similar to that. Maybe not in that joke style, but something akin to that. Denny goes on and says, Nathan Fillion needs to play Hal Jordan, not Hawkman. Ooh, them's... I don't want to say fighting words, but I think we can all kind of get on board with that. I mean, he voices Hal Jordan in the animated movies, so
yes,
kind of want. Here's where I don't think Nathan Fillion will play an A-list superhero in like Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan is too young for Nathan Fillion's age. If we're talking 10 years ago, probably. Right. 15 years ago, probably.
Oh yeah, probably.
Totally. But also CGI wasn't where it is today. Not that needed to happen 10 years ago. I don't see it happening. Hawkman is a little, I don't want to say he's a little bit older, but he is a little bit older. I feel like Nathan Fillion could be in the age range for Hawkman. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's better choices. It was just my go-to. Megan Payne. Megan! If anybody... Nobody's going to get that reference except for Megan. Oh, she and I go way back. She says, hi, Mike. And then she says, you, Ted? Question mark?
Oh, youted.
Youted?
Because you said youted and what was it? Youted and screamed. Not screamed, but
Thank
something
you.
else.
Yeah. I thought that this was a typo of YouTube. So...
No. Youted and scrammed.
Youted
there
and
we go. Youted.
You have a good memory,
scrammed.
my friend. You have a good memory. Yes, youted and scrammed. Megan, thank you.
Youted and scrammed.
And I'm surprised you got that from you, Ted. Unless you're looking at the live feed yourself. Matthew Wiles says Shazam having more than one villain. I'm not a fan when a hero movie chucks a load of villains into a film. No time for any to grow. I think that's subjective. Sometimes it works. I mean, look at The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight had multiple villains. And
yeah, because you had Falcone, you had Joker, and you had Two-Face. So you had
and you had
pretty good amount of
Hatter.
Right, and I mean the Mad Hatter. Trivia of the.
There's
of
a
the
way
episode.
to do it. I mean, there's a way to do it. It all depends on how.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do multiple villains the way that Batman and Robin did multiple villains, screw that. Garbage.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
But there are ways to do it. And with a filmmaker like, oh shoot, who's directing Shazam? I can't think of his name. Robert.
Well, also let's also remember the Batman is actually doing the same, because
Yeah.
the Batman has Paul Dano as Riddler, Colin Farrell as Penguin, who doesn't look like
No.
him at all, which is awesome. It doesn't look like
No.
Colin Farrell at all. He looks amazing. And you also have Falcone. Carmine Falcone is played by John Turturro. So you have three bad guys again in that movie. And there's a way to do it. It's hard because with Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, Joel Schumacher ultimately ended up having to create something to sell toys. And that's why Tim Burton got the boot, because Batman Returns got too dark, and you can't sell toys about a dark movie to kids. It's just not going to work. So then they did,
but it wasn't on the same level.
At that point, Warner Brothers was like, this is terrible. We can't make McDonald's toys off of this movie. That's crazy. And that's when Joel Schumacher took over and then, unfortunately ruined everything. But that's why that happened. And no director's going to do that now. They're not worried about selling toys. That's what cartoons and all that other stuff is for. Movies don't move that kind of merchandise anymore, unless it's something like Shazam or Avengers, where it is clearly lighthearted. So yeah, I mean, I think again, there's a way to do it. We just have to trust who the directors are, and that they're looking to make good movies, and that the corporate shills aren't forcing their hand on the director. Let the director direct.
Matthew goes on to say, Batman, love the trailer more love the trailer more like the game. Love the trailer more like the games. Sorry, punctuation. I'm sorry. I'm getting there. Hold on. Batman, love the trailer more like the games, which have always been more truer.
Oh, he's probably talking about the Arkham games.
Okay.
Yeah, which I would agree. Yeah, it definitely has that Arkham feel, especially with the fighting. Again, I mean, we only see that one part, but if they make him fight like that, then it would definitely be true to the games, because it wasn't necessarily visceral, but it was very physical.
Next comment, Matthew Wiles says, was not keen on Robert Pattinson until I saw the fight scene. So it sounds like Matthew is in alignment with you, Rob. Yeah,
it's in my boat.
Now I'm backing him. The fight scene was like the video games, which is great. And from the very little that I've seen, like I've watched, because again, I don't play games, but sometimes I'll watch other people play games. The Arkham Asylum game was so that was such a cool game, to watch other people play. The way the Batman moved, like he jumped up into the rafters, he would come down, he would scoop people up. All of that gameplay I thought was really interesting, really fun to watch. And based on my very limited knowledge of gameplay, seeing this trailer, again, Rob, to your point, very brutal, very very brutal. Pretty cool.
Yeah, totally.
And Matthew Wiles finishes out our comments once again by saying, the list of words I can't say grows longer. You have my permission. You can reckon all you want. Go ahead and reckon. That will not ruin my day. I have just learned of a few different words of which I will keep to myself. This is not no place for a public forum, but there are a few words that I am no longer allowed to say myself. Nothing offensive. Just words that I have come to learn have other terminology or other definitions that I was not made aware of a week ago. Yeah. Rob, I will tell you after the show ends. But there are we all have things that we can't say. Matthew, that is one that I will allow you to have. As an American, you're welcome. You can have that on me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this does it for our live show of Gotta Love Them Movies. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks for asking questions. Thank you for watching DC Fandome. Not that I'm making any money off of DC Fandome, but thanks. Thanks for doing your homework. So when we come together, we can all have something fun and interesting to talk about in a large group community forum. Huge thanks to Mr. Rob Moreira for joining us today. Rob, at the beginning of the show, normally we have people introduce themselves and let us know what it is that you do. We didn't do that because we jumped right in. Rob, what is it that you do? Like, why are you an expert panelist here today?
Well, besides the fact that I am an avid gamer, 33 years strong, I've been playing since I was 4, and the fact that I love everything that is movies, thankfully for having an older brother. I'm also a voice actor. So I did start as a regular actor, and then I transitioned into doing voice roughly about 7 years ago. So I have been doing that full time for a bit now. And actually, fun fact, I actually voiced Batman in a podcast that's actually being released little by little. The first episode released like 2 days
What?
ago.
How did we not play
Yes.
that at the beginning of the what? What? Hold on. Wait. Can I play? Am I allowed to play the trailer? It's probably got copyright on it.
No, absolutely. No. It's a fan made project
Okay,
on YouTube.
what's the name of it?
And yeah, it is called Echoes of the Night. But
Okay.
yeah. So I did get to voice Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Batman: Echoes of the Night, Episode 1, the case of the
Crime Syndicate or Chemical Syndicate.
32
yeah,
minutes.
Chemical Syndicate. Yeah, that's
32 minutes.
Well, yeah, it's about 18 minutes, and then they interview me about my process of being Batman and how I went about it and all that good stuff.
Oh, this is fantastic. All right, guys, I'm going to put this a link to the video in the comment section below. This is really cool. It's on a YouTube channel called Geeks for Fun. Yeah, I will include the link to this video in the comment section below. That's incredible. I had no idea. I wish there was a trailer.
Yeah, it's really cool. It was very exciting to do. I finished a project. It's probably we did it like 2 months ago. So it's been in limbo for quite a bit because it was being made and created. So there's about this I can talk about. There's about 12, 13 episodes that are going to be coming out, and they're going to be coming out, I believe, it should be monthly, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so episode 1 dropped a couple of days ago. I think it was like 2 days ago. And it's cool. So far, people are really digging it. I mean, people are really digging it. It's one of those things where you're very apprehensive because voicing Batman is tough because that's kind of everything, especially after Christian Bale and, in such high regard that people hold Kevin Conroy. It's tough. It's really tough. It's a little nerve-wracking, but
You
ultimately,
say Kevin Conroy.
I think people will dig it.
You see my right there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
He's my Batman.
Yeah, so my Batman very much sounds kind of like his. I do emulate him, but I don't copy him. It's not an impression of him, but it is inspired by.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Rob, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for plugging
Thank
yourself.
you.
Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, actually. If you just put Rob with 2 B's, Moreira, Moreira, you could pretty much find me anywhere. Even if you just Google me, you could just Google Rob Moreira, and I'm like the first 4 or 5 pages of Google. So SEO, I'm an SEO champ.
That's awesome. Rob, thank you so much again for joining us and bringing all of your insight and expertise. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for the show. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Robert Pattinson's Batman would want you to do. All right, guys, that does it for us here at Gotta Love Them Movies. Until next time, which is literally tomorrow, we will be back with another brand new episode tomorrow. So go ahead and check that out. I will see you guys on the flip side.